Previously on the European LCS.
We are the only team that in the first Super Week we went 5-0.
They are the top of the table and they looked dominant right there.
I think that we are now again one of the top teams. We've beaten back.
Every game counts now.
That's their second win so far in week 8 and you can see what it means to them.
I'm confident that we'll at least make it to playoffs.
We have everything to risk right now.
SK Gaming have taken down Lemon Dogs in a bottom versus top matchup.
I think Super Week is better for the bottom team, for there's a chance to go to the top.
It's last chance to save our place in LCS.
And Ninjas in Pajamas picking up a fantastic win. Meet your makers, they pretty much need a perfect week now.
So we had a lot of time to boot camp and prepare for all matches in the Super Week.
Every match is really important, and every single win gets you a lot closer to the playoffs.
Hello and welcome to Week 9 of the European League of Legends Championship Series. I'm your host, Eefje Schokke Supporter, and it's Super Week. It's the last chance for our teams to lock down a spot at Gamescom. And if they want one, they're going to have to fight for it. And they'll have plenty of chances to battle it out this week, as each team is going to play 5 games between today and Saturday. But before we get to the games, let's check in with Lee D-Man Smith and Trevor Quick Chat Henry to catch us up on all the LCS news around Europe.
Thank you very much, Shocks, and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to our 9th and final week of the regular season.
Yeah, we have 40 games in total between North America and Europe. 6 North American matches have already been wrapped up, and we're going to be covering 8 of them today.
So let's get the things started. It is time to set the stage for this week's matches here in Europe. Right now, there is not a single team in the league that is guaranteed to return for Season 4. That's just how close things are. Nobody has clinched anything yet. Lemon Dogs, though, they are the sole leader for the second week in a row, but only by the slimmest of margins.
Yeah, it really, really is close. And, you know, if they can wrap up one of those 2 spots, they will get a bye in the first round of the playoffs and a spot in the league next season. That's very, very important. The remaining teams in the playoffs will then be battling it out for a spot at the World Championships, as well as stamping their ticket into Season 4. A grand total of 5 teams from our current 8 from the playoffs, rather, will confirm their spots for next year's League of Legends Championship Series.
So if any team loses in the first round, they'll have to play a relegation match. And the loser of that relegation match will join the teams that have placed 7th and 8th this season in the Spring Promotion Tournament.
Yeah, there is a bit of a twist, though, because the 3 LCS teams in the promotion tournament will pick which challenger team they want to play, and that is going to be based on rank. So the 6th place team will choose first, followed by the 7th place team, and whoever is in 8th will then play whichever challenger team is left.
So if you were to cast your mind back, you'd think of Samurai and Jeans coming up against Copenhagen Wolves back then.
Correct.
Effectively, they were both pretty high seeds. That probably wouldn't happen this time around. It could be different.
In theory, it should be the strongest challenger team against the weakest LCS
Who they
team.
perceive to be
That
the
is the
weakest.
theory, because of course, you could decide, hey, we've got a better chance against that team because we know them or things like that. It's another twist that we've just added.
It's an interesting twist as well. That's what all these teams are trying to avoid, though. The teams who do make it to the playoffs are going to be fighting for a spot in the championships in Los Angeles. You guys have all seen it. The Staples Center, everything is going to be huge. And you guys, you can get your tickets. So go over to lolesports.com/tickets for details. Meanwhile, though, the big news, the biggest news effectively for the teams this week is that they are on 3.10 patch. So this is the new patch, and it does mean some really big changes in the early game.
Yeah, so it's the same patch that you are playing on live. And talking about the early game, there's 2 big changes. The first one is the small jungle camps will now spawn at 2:05, 10 seconds later than previously. And it does mean that teams can't get an early lane advantage by taking that small camp and then running to the lane. They will lose some CS. In addition, it also means that teams are no longer punished for trying to invade because they won't miss out on those small camps spawning. It's not like lost resources, effectively. The second big thing that I think will affect us is the turrets have been changed, the outer turrets. They now have increased armor, an armor amount that will gradually decrease between 4 minutes and 8 minutes. And in theory, this should discourage teams from fast pushing towers, which was the sort of meta for the last couple of months. But I do think it may encourage 3v1 tower dives, like we did see a few months ago.
Yeah, there's a lot of changes. So the 3.10 patch, it also removes probably the most popular item, the most popular defensive item at least, from the game, and that is the Runic Bulwark. There's a lot of changes to magic resist items as well.
Okay, so first and foremost, Aegis now upgrades into Locket. The Locket has been made slightly less effective overall, but the cost has been reduced to reflect that. In addition, as far as the MR is concerned, Spectre's Cowl has been added. It's an ingredient that builds into the Spirit Visage. It's an item that was targeted at the laning phase as far as magic resistance is concerned, and everybody loves it. Double Lift built it on Vayne yesterday. The reason for these changes, just to give you some insight, was to move magic resistance more to an individual statistic for you and your champion, as opposed to an aura-based one. And the theory is that it should open up, item paths for junglers and supports. And last night in the LCS, in the NA LCS, we already seen some crazy builds. Patoy actually built Spirit Visage on Sona. Jungle Elises were going heavy ability power much earlier than we're used to seeing.
Yeah, so there are tons of changes here, and it's a pretty huge patch, of course. We're going to see how things stand, though, at the start of the week. This is how they look right now. After a solid 2-1 week, Lemondogs, they are top of the table right now. Just barely, though, because they are ahead of Fnatic and Alternate. Meanwhile, Ninjas in Pajamas, they're tied in 4th place at the moment, just nipping at their heels.
Yeah, behind them, Evil Geniuses and Gambit are then tied behind them. Just one game behind EG and Gambit are then SK Gaming. And finally, Meet Your Makers are now 3 games outside of a playoff position in 8th place.
And all that is about to change because, of course, it will happen and be based on the results of today's game. So starting out, we're going to have Alternate versus SK Gaming. You can see there is tons of matches today. That's going to be Evil Geniuses versus Ninjas in Pajamas, game 2 of the day, followed by Gambit versus Meet Your Makers, and then Lemondogs versus Fnatic.
That's only half of the day. That's 50%, because the second half of the day begins with Meet Your Makers versus Evil Geniuses. Then SK Gaming take on Fnatic. Our 7th game of the day is Gambit versus Alternate. And finally, Lemondogs versus Ninjas in Pajamas.
So absolutely everything could have completely changed before the end of the day.
It's going to. Who are we kidding?
Yeah.
It's going to change.
I don't know. The rest of the season's been pretty balanced, so we could end today. Everybody tied up. Who knows? I'm sure you guys at home, definitely on Reddit, I've seen some permutations of multiple different combinations.
1,300,000 options because of all the different possibilities. Yeah. It's ridiculous.
Good job on that Python script, by the way, on Reddit. So before we start, though, today's games, let's go over to Shocks, who has the Twitter question of the day.
Thank you very much, D-Man. And it's your chance to talk back to us. Just log into Twitter and tell us which European LCS team will be most affected by the new patch and why. Make sure you follow us at LOL Esports and, of course, use the hashtag LCS to be eligible. We'll be reading our 5 favorite tweets on the air later in the show. And if your tweet is one of the ones we pick, you'll get a Logitech G400S gaming mouse. And you can also let us know what you think by going to lolesports.com and voting for who you will think will win this week's games. And while you're there, you can check out all the results, the standings, the VODs, and everything your heart desires. Now, we're going to take our first break, but when we come back, we've got 8 great games, so tell your loved ones you're going to be out of touch for a while and settle in. Stay tuned.
So we are SK Gaming, but we know we are not immortals. So to stay in LCS, we have to earn our spot. And during this season, we've been through a lot of a roller coaster, you could say. We had very good moments, we had very bad moments, but one thing is for sure, I can tell you we are working our ass off to make this work.
Welcome back to our LCS studios, where we are just about to see the clash between the former teammates Ocelot and Aranea on the Rift. So let's go over to D-Man and Quickshot to get things started.
Thank you very much, Shox, and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is time to get things underway with Alternate versus SK Gaming. Like all the games this week, this is going to be the last time these guys meet in the regular season.
Yeah, when Alternate and SK did meet last time, or last week in Week 8, Alternate got the better end of the deal. They extended their head-to-head lead 2-1 in the series. This match is especially important for SK, as it's their first attempt to make it closer to the playoffs. They need a 4-1 week. That's the minimum they can go.
The bare minimum. Yeah. So before we get things underway, let's check out the lineups. You guys know them. You've seen them all season. It is the blue side for Alternate. It is Kerp in that top lane. He's actually had a haircut as well, I can tell you. As had Aranea. These guys all didn't have good haircuts at this time. They've all been trimmed down and ready for Super Week. Aranea is the jungler, for Unlord in the mid. Kreaton is back as the AD carry, and J-Ri as his support.
Aerodynamics with the headsets. Yeah. That's what it's all about. On the red side this time around, it is going to be SK Gaming. Kevin up in the top lane, Hercubot in the jungle, Ocelot in the mid lane, as well as Candy Panda and Nipp to round out the team.
So you guys have been over at the website voting for this one, and what have they made it out so far?
They've played it safe. 58% of the public feel that Alternate are going to pick this one up. And I think when you consider...
Is it safe, though? Because they're way up there and SK way down there.
Well, that's my point. It's a safe prediction that Alternate's going to win. They're 2-1 up. They beat them 2 weeks ago in Week 8. And we haven't really seen SK in a position where they can challenge throughout the season. Maybe this is their week.
Well, right now, Alternate is tied for second place. As we said, they are right up there right now, and they're looking to secure one of those top 2 spots, which will get them the bye in the playoffs.
They're not going to be able to coast into the playoffs, though. They cannot afford to drop very many games because they've got half the league tied with them or within 2 games. Things are definitely looking very good for Alternate, though. We saw Creaton's dramatic return in Week 8. He unwrapped his hand just moments before the game, putting the bandages down and saying if anyone touched it, it would be dead forever. And from that point on, it was almost like the old days, with Alternate back in the driving seat. An interesting stat, without substitutes, Alternate has 10 wins and 4 losses on the season, which is a brilliant record.
So they're doing pretty well, which is why they're up there. Meanwhile, if they don't turn things around immediately, and I mean they need to win this game straight off the bat, it is going to be a very quiet autumn for them. They start this final week of the season and out of the playoff positions. They are down in 7th place, and if they can't turn things around, they're going to be left out in the cold this winter.
There is plenty of scenarios where they do advance, but they need to have an incredible week, as we've highlighted already. They need to win at least 4 games. And of those 4 victories, 2 of those wins must be against Mecha Makers and Gambit. It's going to be tough, but it's not going to be impossible. And we've seen that they can beat anybody. If you throw your minds back all the way to Week 3, they had a perfect week. They did go 2-0. They had wins against Alternate and Fnatic, who are up there at the top of the table. And if they can pull off that kind of week again, they're going to be back in it.
And Ocelot's even color-coded his scarf for this one as well, so...
It's a rarity. It is a rarity as far as Ocelot's concerned with those magic scarves, so
he's just had his call with his mother. He always has that every week before he starts into the game, and he came in here, said hello, and then straight into the call with his mother. So, picks and bans are about to get underway. First game of the day. And actually, there's quite a few things that have changed. We'll get into it as the game progresses, but the bans are coming thick and fast, as you would expect. Casting in Vayne and Shen already taken out. Ariana and Ezreal banned out by SK Gaming, so only 1 more ban remaining.
Very targeted bans, and I think it's interesting that Alternate have taken Vayne out. Candy Panda has been playing a lot of Vayne this season, and he's doing very well with Vayne, but we also know it's one of Creaton's mains. The thing is, of SK's victories, Candy Panda's got 4 victories out of 5 games played, so that's definitely a denial factor. I want to see whether or not we're going to have an Elise first pick, because that's probably going to be an important one for me.
Well, Thresh was the final ban, and it is going to be Elise first pick.
So Elise has had changes in 3.10. Yeah. Her repel is slightly less floaty. You can no longer drop down from repel and land on somebody instantly. The range is a lot more confined. In addition, the spiderlings are less tanky, so there's been a lot of tweaks.
You can't use the skills as soon as you come down, so you can't Q straight away.
Timing. You have to get your feet on the ground, get grounded, and then you can use your abilities. So last night in NA, Jat was actually surprised at how much Elise we were seeing. He thought the nerf was enough to remove it. What we did see was Twisted Fate didn't appear. It was like not picked, not banned. And it's more to do with pick a card than the passive. And we'll get to that if Ocelot decides to go that route.
Okay, well, we are seeing currently Hercubot going for that Lee Sin here. If you remember, cast your mind back to week 8, he had a very successful Lee Sin. And it was actually Jason was talking about when they used to use it way back when Hercubot wasn't in SK Gaming, when he was in one of the effectively challenger teams back then, how good his Lee Sin was. And it seemed to work out very well last week. So we do see him locked in along with Twitch. And Twitch has definitely been a high pick lately.
Yeah, I think when I think of Twitch and Candypan in particular, I think of the Spring Split a little bit more.
Yeah.
He hasn't played it quite as often during the course of his 20-odd games now in summer. But in spring, it was one of the go-to champions. The one thing I'd like to see with the rest of this, with the rest of the composition from SK, would be a little bit more, maybe crowd control. We might even see Kevin considering a Rumble. It's one of his, preferred champions.
Well, we do see Kraton, one of the, in fact, the highest KDA AD carry. And in fact, the highest KDA, is he in Europe still?
I can
He's definitely
double-check
up
that
there,
one.
but
I can
mean, that's kind of
double-check that
cheating.
one.
He had a couple of weeks out, so he's not played as many games as everyone else, but definitely up there. And he's gone with Graves.
It is
Fiddlesticks.
7.2 at the moment, number 1 KDA. So Graves and Fiddlesticks, if that is going to be the duo lane, which we do expect, a little bit of an interesting lane. It's not a traditional AD carry that you would associate with Fiddle, but Graves is immensely powerful because of his wave clear. It's just going to allow Alternate to take control of the map, and we know that Pharrell Lord and RNA like to move a lot. So it's just going to allow them to roam, keep the waves in their favor, and against SK, who have been struggling a little bit in cohesion and teamwork, I think that's a very good pickup.
I don't think we're going to see Revive Clarity coming out from RNA, but we'll see what he switches it to. Zach and Zyra were the other lock-ins, going for the Zeds.
So I still think a Rumble would be a perfect pickup here if you lock them down, but I don't think it's actually going to happen. I feel like that's going to be a top lane Zac. The Zyra Twitch is a very good lane. If you catch out Fiddle or Graves in the early game, there's a lot of damage that can come down from that expunge burst of Twitch. So I like it. I also like the CC combo. Lock him up with Strangle Thorns.
Slow them down.
Bounce them all around with Zac, and you just got a nice zone of death, effectively, that you can put a lot of damage down.
No, Renekton and Ari are the final choices for Alternate, so it's an interesting team comp they've got going on there. There's a bit of crowd control.
It's a little bit more pick.
Good bit of a tank going in.
So what I think I'm seeing from the Alternate lineup a little bit more than from anybody else is if the Cocoon of the Charm lands, that's basically a guaranteed dead target because you can chain the CCs, you follow it up with the Fear, then you've got the bounce around, Silence, which is actually very annoying to deal with in team fights, especially if you're in jungle camps or in the river. But in terms of initiation, outside of Fiddlesticks, Ulti, and Renekton running at you, they're very reliant on picks. So Alternate going to be playing the skirmish game, looking for 2v2s and for roaming, as opposed to head-up 5v5s, which is what SK has fully committed themselves to.
Yeah, they've gone for the Karthus final pick there, so it's going to be Ocelot and Karthus in that mid lane. And we'll see how that works out. I mean, that's up against Ari, Pharrell Lord. I mean, it's a lineup he's obviously played probably 100,000 times, not 100,000, that's going a bit
Close
overboard.
enough.
A lot of times. You get the pitch.
So the thing with Karthus and Ocelot in particular, he's not a massive Karthus fan, but he picks it for team compositions. And when you've got all of this AoE from Zac, all of the AoE damage from Spray and Pray from Zyra, it's a very good combo. What we do tend to see when Ocelot picks Karthus is he puts himself in the 1v1 and the 1v2 lanes. He tends to go bottom lane, and they put their duo lane mid. And I think if they decide to go with that, it could work out very well for them, as long as Hercubot babysits a little bit. Now, remember, the turrets are stronger as well.
I'm flashback right now of Ocelot playing Karthus at the Worlds in Season 2, and it didn't go well. It didn't go well. And afterwards, he was like, I don't know why I picked it. I don't know why. I don't know why I picked it. So maybe, well, there's a lot of pressure on their shoulders, and obviously he's had a year to work on his Karthus skill, so we'll see how it works out for them. There is Alternate, though. They're sitting pretty right now. Joint second place, chasing down Lemon Dogs, whereas SK, they are desperate to get themselves in one of those playoff positions.
Yeah, and talking about the teams, I know we've flogged the dead horse 1,000 times, but I want to say it one more time. RNA and Ocelot, you're talking about the playoffs, you're talking about the history. I briefly chatted to both of them coming into this match, and Ocelot was saying he's pretty confident, and they've worked very hard, they've trained hard for this matchup. RNA was a little more nervous, and as a outgoing, boisterous player, you could feel the tension on his shoulders. This is an important week for them. They really want to get a top seed, because top 2, you guarantee your spot for next year.
The thing is that it's what all the players have always said all season. When it's a league and it's going along and it's sticking along, the pressure's not really there. You just got to play in a couple of games, a couple of weeks. Suddenly, we've got Gamescom, the playoffs in what, effectively 5 days' time it begins,
Yep.
which is scary in itself for everyone involved, as well as the production. But 5 days away, we are in Gamescom. We are there for the playoffs. And this is for the Worlds, and suddenly pressure is a real deal for these guys. And teams like Lemon Dogs and Alternate that did join in the summer are suddenly thinking, guys, we could be there. We could get to Los Angeles. We could see ourselves playing in the Staples Center right now. And, you know, suddenly it's become a reality for them. Here we go, getting things underway. Alternate are the blue team, SK are the red team, and I do not know how this one's going to go. SK have got a pretty good track record against Alternate, but Alternate have the better record overall in the season.
That was very well played. They've already denied some vision, and they've also put a little bit of focus on SK's defensive play. Alternate stacked themselves up, and what we noticed, that was a pink ward, so they've picked up 2. Vision control heavily in favor of Alternate. If they want to go for an invade, they should be able to do it fairly safely.
And it looks like they are going to do it. The fact they did get that pink ward and cleared out the coverage immediately gives SK a problem here. And you can see SK there maneuvering on the map right now. There's 3 of them just off the bottom right of your screen. Hercubot's going to throw out the kick and spot them all there. And that will actually give vision of everyone there, effectively.
So Alternate weren't 100% sure where the rest of SK was. If you look at the rest of their wards, the vision is very shallow. So they had no idea if SK had grouped up as a 5-man team. And you never want to walk into a grasping roots. You do not want to face check a Zyra. Even though they had a little bit of vision, if they walked around a corner and got a 3-man or a 4-man trapped, it could have been a terrifying result. And last night, we actually seen TSM getting a lot of early kills with a Twitch Karthus combo, working very, very well together. So we'll see if SK want to try channel that pressure as we get later in the laning phase.
As you can see, a little bit early there for Renlord, throwing out his orbs, catching on towards, and that's going to be the blue buff start for Aranea, red buff start for Hercubot. So we'll see whether we have any counters, whether we have any early invades coming out from either jungler. Both junglers actually pretty quick and very aggressive. They're going to be looking for ganks in lane.
I want to see how they decide to play this one out, because remember, the towers have that massive chunk of armor extra now for these next minute and a half, and it will slowly decay from 4 to 8. And what we seen last night is, instead of 3v1 tower pushes, or even 3v1 tower dives like I was expecting, we seen 2v2 babysitters. So the jungler would go to the solo laner, help them out, cover the lane, and basically defend them for a couple of minutes until we reach that mid-game phase.
Fast ward there, actually, coming out from J-Ree, getting vision of Hercubot, and you can see he's just trying to simply interrupt him, put him off, try and cause problems for him. He's doing a very good job of that right now, but the smite was used from Hercubot, and he has managed to get the blue buff.
So at the end of the day, just a little bit of frustration, but nothing too strong gained or lost. Aranea at the moment, he's moving over to his red buff, so no buffs stolen from either team either. And we do see the SK, they've done the lane swap themselves. They've stuck Kevin into this Graves Fiddlesticks lane, so as long as he's against the tower, he should be relatively okay.
Yeah, they're going to keep pushing. So let's look across the lanes right now. So the mid lane, this is one of the ones we wanted to talk about. Ferelnord versus Ocelot, Ari versus Karthus.
So as soon as Ferelnord hits level 6, his kill potential is extremely high. The Wall of Pain is negated by Spirit Rush, and on the condition that Ocelot eats a charm, he's basically going to be a goner. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Hercubot hovering around this mid lane as we get closer to the 5.5 minute mark and closer to those level 6s.
Meanwhile, we can see the pressure in this top lane, the Zyra Twitch combo. And Kerp's got to be very careful. Aranea is actually lingering in this middle at the moment, seeing if he can get in, if he can land that cocoon on towards Ocelot, who is actually hovering towards him. We may see Aranea come out now. He's going to back away from that one, no problem at all. So pressure is all about this top, and this could well be the 3v1 dive. We're at 4 minute mark.
So the dive is very, very powerful. Wait until we get level 6 and it gets even stronger. If you add the damage that Twitch has in lane, plus a Requiem, even against a Renekton who's pretty tanky, it could be scary. And I love to see this. We thought 3v1 dives might happen, and Kevin does not know Aranea is here. Here they come.
Yeah, he managed to launch out, didn't quite catch him with that elastic strike, and instead he is going to get dived on. He has got the passive, though, so he will manage to get away from this one. Will it be enough? He's going to go see the repel. Kraton's going to now take tower damage. Aranea goes back in. They're trying to time it around. They want to give the kill to Kraton. He's had to use barrier. He's flashed away from it. He's still alive. They're going to have to die for it. He may get a kill out of this one. Will the tower get on towards him? The minions minions on towards RNA, turns around. I think he managed to just survive there. Wow, crazy. So close.
Brilliant, brilliant play from Aranea. He popped on the W, the Skittering Frenzy, got a tiny bit of lifesteal back. I still think he would have survived anyway, but the extra tower meant 3v1 tower dive, and because of the added pressure, SK may even be able to get a tower. So if they get the tower, it's worth it.
There is the tower, so good trade overall, and we did see Kerp obviously backing away to make sure he didn't go down. That will be the bottom tower, I would assume, will go down in just a moment. So things hotting up fairly early on here between SK and Alton. At just 5 minutes gone, the tower's already dropping, kills already coming. Kraton is going to finish off this tower. The minions will do the job for him, and he's going to back away and buy as well.
So we still see the towers going down very quickly. They lost maybe 2 minutes longer. We do tend to see those sort of 3.5 minute towers prior to 3.10. That bottom lane just survived a couple seconds extra. But I really want to highlight how good the coordination was between Alternate's members in that bottom lane. They killed Zac twice while tanking the turret. Yes, it cost them a lot of summoner spells, but they got the kill and almost the tower. It's definitely worked out for them.
Instant check there from Aranea, repelled in to see whether the dragon had been pulled away. They saw it had. Are Alternate going to react to this one? Because SK have a 5-man defense. The cocoon is thrown out with that spider skittering out there, but it's not going to be enough. Hercubot has got his smite available, will pick that one up.
Very well played. So after taking the tower in the top lane, a good captainship call from SK, as they said, bring Candy Panda and Nipp towards the dragon. We'll make a 5-man challenge, even though we don't all have our ultimates. We simply have a numbers advantage, and it worked out in their favor. So they've got an early gold lead, and it's a good start for SK.
So lane switched, and we can see now Kraton and J-Reed, they are going to be up against Niff and Candy Panda. Candy Panda himself put that pink ward down and clears out the Tribush. So the AD carry getting a pink ward and clearing things out.
So it's definitely going to help them out. We do see here comes Aranea. If he gets a good cocoon, it could work out. And unfortunately, a wise play from SK. They were backing away from that potential game.
Yeah, they saw that coming, managed to get away before anything really happened. Aranea takes a bit of lane tax, as all good junglers should do. Hercubot, he's going to be clearing out the golems in the top lane. Meanwhile, Kevin, he's had a bit of free time, and actually the two top laners, not going to do a great deal against each other. This is simply a case of playing catch-up now for these two.
Yeah, they're going to see how quickly they can actually trade, and I think Kerp with his early Negatron cloak will probably be able to win out against Kevin here. We'll see how this little duel goes back and forth, and if Kevin plays it safe and just continually regens off his Soul Division passive, it's going to be a bit of a farmy lane for the time being.
Yeah, they're just going to be rubbing up against each other, as I've said many, many times. Nevertheless, it is going to be the blue buff for Renlord. Aranea is going to help him out on that one. And actually, Kerp just coming across just to cover it off in case Hercubot, who was around that Tribush the last time they spotted him. But you can see he's taken the red buff himself.
So at the end of the day, a little bit of a return to normality now. Towers have both been traded back and forth. Part of the reason Aranea was so aggressive in that bottom lane with lane tax, they just wanted to push the wave up and get the tower, and that freed the rest of his movements towards the other lanes. As we're starting to hit level 6, I think the onus is going to be on SK to make the play here. That first Requiem from Ocelot is going to be very, very impactful if he's able to pick up a kill. So we'll have to see how well he can combo that with the rest of his lanes.
There's actually a bit of a CS difference building up between the two. You can see Kraton, he's managed to get himself almost a 20 CS lead over Candy Panda right now, but Hercubot has also done the same against Aranea in the jungle.
So there's two factors to Creaton's CS increase. First of all, he was in lane for longer without interruption. Hercubot came with Candy Panda enough to push the tower down, and because their focus was on taking the tower, they lost a couple minions there. In addition, Candy Panda and Nipp moved to the dragon. Right now, Kevin has been caught up by the cocoon, has been jumped on.
Is it going to be enough? It's going to elastic slingshot away, but immediately the repel comes in. Let's Bounce was used, and Kevin will get away safe, having to use his ultimate.
That was very good play from both Aranea and Kerp. As soon as the slingshot was being charged, they ran in the direction he was going to jump. So as he landed, it was a much smaller distance to close.
Yeah, forced him to use that ultimate. He did not have flash available actually either, so could well have caught him out. As it is though, we have 3 members of Alternate stacked in this mid lane and trying to push it, but 3 members of SK on the defense, but the charm catches on towards Nipp though. But as it is, Alternate getting some good damage down here. Now they have 4 in. Kraton's putting the damage, putting the hurt on the tower, and it's finally forced Candy Panda to leave that bottom lane. He's going to go straight back in there though. Wants to try and catch up on the CS.
There is immense amounts of pressure on Ocelot in these tower defense situations, because as far as the AoE is concerned, it's Zyra and Karthus that have the area of effect spells. We'll see how quickly they can clear the wave, because you can see it takes them a relatively long amount of time to actually get these minions down, and that allows Alternate to put a lot of auto attack damage onto the turrets.
interesting how they've built, actually. Obviously, Rodovage is now finally coming out for Ocelot. He's got that Captain's Protector in there already. But they both went for the Doran's rings in that mid lane, so they wanted to try and create an opportunity early on, but I think they really have had the chance. Of course, Requiem is now available for Ocelot, so we'll see whether that comes into play in the next few minutes. I would expect that's probably going to be held on till the next dragon pops up.
It's definitely a possibility. We can't be too far away from him, about 2.5 or 3 minutes, I think. One of the things that worked very well for Team Solid Mid last night is they comboed their Twitch damage early with the Requiem. They allowed Twitch to get a lot of damage down onto, say, a Fiddlesticks or a Graves, pop the Expunge, get him down to about 200, 250 HP, and then allow Requiem to finish it off for the rest. We'll see if SK have been practicing that sort of strategy, or if they just want to go the Suicide Karthus, put him in the middle of the Dragon Pit, let him die, and press R to win.
So we have a big difference between the AD carries right now. Candy Panda's still sitting on a chunk of gold, trying to build up for that BF sword. Meanwhile, the BF sword has already been picked up by Kreton, so Kreton going to be much stronger in that bottom lane. The top lane at the moment is just a bit of a battle between two oiled up veterans.
He's baiting them for
you
SK.
Can see the rest of SK are coming around. Hercubot and Ocelot will be there in a moment, but Kerp is already gone.
So we've seen that Kevin, he was trying to keep Kerp in place for as long as possible, but luckily Kerp wasn't so far extended that he was really at threat. He put Dominus down, that's the ultimate, he's blown, and right now Ferenlord's got a little bit of free time as RNA has been caught in the jungle.
A good wall of pain there from Ocelot to catch him out. He is going to repel straight back in there, kick back in there. Is it going to be enough? Has to flash away. Kevin's going to try and come across. Everybody flies straight across. Great kill for SK there.
A lot of investment though from the SK members. That's a lot of flashes used to chase him down. If they can get a tower out of this, this will be great. Hercubot stunned out of the tower.
Yeah, a little bit of Lee syndrome there, catching on towards him. She's diving straight in front. Little coming around the side, throwing out the orbs, catching very nicely onto Hercubot there. Uses his ultimate, comes in, gets the charm on towards Hercubot.
Good flash.
The ignite goes down. He's still got a little bit left with that ultimate. He could try and chase onto this one. Hercubot taking low, but Ocelot still at full hit points. He's defending very nicely, and they're going to force him to be back off.
So Ferenlord's pressure actually saved the tower there. He knew that SK were trying to focus it down, or using their positional advantage to take that. Instead of pressing the lack of members in the middle, he fell back to defend. A good kill for SK, but now no flashes means if a Cocoon or a Charm lands, they're going to just get popped in these next fights.
Different build choices from the AD carries. Kreaton going for that Bloodthirster. Meanwhile, the Bilgewater Cutlass now on Candy Panda, heading towards that Blade of the Rune King. Dragon has spawned, and as we mentioned, Requiem had been saved, and it's still available, so it's Alternate that are setting up for this one. But as you can see, SK, they are gathering, they are moving towards it, but that middle turret going down, that's an important one for Alternate.
Yeah, it gives them the, a tower advantage as well as the ability to invade. We do see now Ferenlord trying to battle Kevin. The Dragon is down to 3,000 HP. SK want to pick a fight here. Let's Bounce is available, and there they go.
They're going to go straight in. Aranea has to repel, but he's going to come straight back into play here. That's a great Stranglethorns, completely locks them out. The charm goes in. Candy Panda caught out very low. Candy Panda's still taking low. Kreaton finishing him off there. Kirk gets in towards him. Kirk going deep here onto Nipp. He gets himself a double. We see Ocelot. He picks up a kill. Kreaton forced to dash away from this one. Is it going to be enough? Requiem is still available. Has he got the hit points to take him down? You can see Kirk. He's getting caught out. Hercubot's going to close in. Here comes the Requiem. Will it be enough to catch on towards him? No, because he got the lifesteal on the golems just before he was used. Kirk's also going to get away. Oh, Willie, Lee Syndrome comes in. He catches on towards him. Hercubot helps out Kevin to get the kill.
Brilliant play from SK Gaming. Yes, they did lose 2 members, but they stopped the Dragon being picked up, and they forced Alternate away. Alternate were a 5-man unit, and SK brute forced their way into it. A very good Let's Bounce, combo to the very good Stranglethorns gave them the zone control they needed. This is a risky Dragon. They've got a couple seconds longer before Aranea can join the party and maybe pick up an exit frag.
Going to have to get in, use that Defile, just about enough mana to do it. Aranea's going to try and catch on towards Hercubot. He needs to land that Cocoon. He's not quite in range. Will he get close enough? No, the safeguard comes out and Hercubot gets away. Good Dragon pickup for SK, risky though.
They'll be able to steal the blue buff away. Thanks to Alternate scaring them away, they now have the numbers advantage, and at least picking up an objective like this is a small win. Overall, SK in the lead.
Yeah, blue buff helps a lot for Ocelot. He wants to keep it for that Requiem cooldown. And as it stands, Candy Panda, he'd gone to that top lane. But the kills advantage is for SK. The gold advantage is for SK. The tower advantage, though, is with Alternate. That middle tower going down just before all the action happened was a big deal for Alternate.
And it's going to allow Alternate to roam into that red and blue buff area of SK Gaming a little bit more. Crocodiles do tend to eat rats if they can get on top of them. And that's the question now. Can Kerp catch Candy Panda out?
Nope, stealth straight away.
Got me excited for nothing.
Sneaky little rat does manage to go invisible. Most rats can't do that, but this one definitely can. So blue buff, that's going to go across towards Pharrell. Remember, the blue buff has already denied away from SK Gaming, so double blues for Alternate right now. Meanwhile, Hercubot closes out that red. On the ball with the buff count as well. Kevin was coming across. They wanted to try and get invade. They realized theirs had gone, but they are too slow.
Yeah, a little bit late. What it will tell them, though, is it'll refresh at least the icon on the minimap, and they may be able to challenge for the next one. And Kerp has been a little caught out. He's managed to get rooted.
Grasping roots is there. Is Kevin going to use the let's bounce?
Good
No, instead he gets kicked straight back across towards that blue buff. They have a good ward in that bush, so they will spot him.
Here comes
the
Pharrell.
kill the meat is going to be available. Will he be able to slice and dice away from this one? No, Hercubot goes back in. That's another great route there. Is it going to be enough, though? You can see his ultimate, the Dominus, running in the lifesteal along, chugging down those pots with the Spirit Visage, helping him out a treat.
Candy Panda also used his spray and pray. He thought he was within range, so that is down if a fight were to break out. 3.5 members of SK are putting damage on the tower, but a very good fear from J-Ree will mitigate a lot of Candy Panda's auto attacks.
And the rest of Alternate, they come around, they gather, and again, that bottom turret, is saved, and it's the top one. It's the top one.
Middle, bottom,
top, middle, or bottom. Doing a bit of Barrymore right there. Nobody outside the UK will know what the hell I'm on about there.
But well played by SK at the very least. What we are seeing from them, they're not afraid of Alternate at all. Every single time there has been a sniff of an opportunity, SK has committed to it. What Alternate need to do to respond to this is have some more deep and shallow wards in their own jungle. You can see they're very lacking on vision on their half of the map. So every time SK invades, Alternate simply don't have the information to work with to counter it.
So right now, Creaton has still kept that CS lead ahead of Candy Panda. Candy Panda, of course, down as well in terms of kills. So gold-wise, you can see he's got that 700 gold advantage built up over him. Meanwhile, though, Ocelot, despite the fact he's down in CS, has picked up those kills and the assist, and you can see that stretched him a 700 gold lead towards Ocelot. So Ocelot winning out against Pharrell technically there, although not really from the lanes. But look at the junglers. It's 1,000 gold advantage for Hercubot right now.
So the question is, how do Alternate proceed from here? Because they have the ability to split push and they have the ability to skirmish well, but if they get pulled into these 5v5 engagements like the previous Dragon fight, which we're about to see very soon, for the third Dragon, SK have a superior team fighting team. So Alternate need to find ways of forcing SK into bad positions like they're doing now. They've got a numbers advantage in the top lane, and they're using their 3v2 strength, 3v3 strength to make SK hesitant on engaging.
It's a 3v2 strength. Kevin does have Let's Bounce available. Ocelot is making his way up there. He has Requiem available. Are they actually going to defend this turret? Will they just let it go? We see Hercubot lands the kick. Kevin, locked up very well there by Pharrell and Aaron Air, and he took a lot of damage. That's surely going to be the turret. We can see Ocelot is still lingering, but I don't feel they're strong enough now to defend this one.
Kevin got instantly charmed the moment he landed from that slingshot, so he took way too much damage to be able to challenge. Third tower of the game goes to Alternate because they're simply more mobile in the lanes. They're not stopping the pressure, though, because they're keeping a numbers advantage, while the middle lane, Candy Panda and Nipp have been forced back.
Yeah, SK looked like they were trying to force something and maybe try and steal away the middle outer turret, but SK, they had to react to this one because Alternate were looking to still push that top, so everybody moves around, shuffles around the map, and gets back into farming lane positions. Candy Panda, he's chasing the CS right now. Still a 31 CS deficit between him and Creaton. Meanwhile, Kevin in that top lane, he's fell behind on Kerp as well.
And if you look at the lanes, once again, they're pushing against SK's side of the map. And a lot of that is to do with Creaton's roaming. He moves to the different lanes. He was bottom, he pushed the wave out, and Candy Panda pushed it down. Then he went middle. Creaton pushed the mid wave out, and you can see, as soon as Ocelot's going to push this SK wave towards Alternate, Creaton's there to respond, and that's the strength of Graves. He's playing it well. Crowstorm's channel, here comes J-Ree!
J-Ree goes in, catches the fear nicely on towards him, and Nipp just gets melted where he stands. Great setup from J-Ree there.
Now there is a window of opportunity for SK Gaming. They're going to know that the Crowstorm is down. They're going to know that Spirit Rush is down, and I think Dragon should be up in the not too distant future. But 19 minutes 30, 19 minutes 40. That means SK may decide to challenge for this one again, knowing Crowstorm's not there.
But Alternate, they have the timer on that blue buff, and they are straight round, and they're going to take this one away. Ocelot is simply a spectator in this one. There's the blue buff. Dragon is up in 25 seconds. Will Alternate hang around? Will they just shove out this bottom lane? It looks like they will. The rest of SK are going to react to this, though.
They're grouping up, and they're pushing down, so they're going to have the timer on it as they were the ones that took it. That previous blue buff is the second in a row that's been stolen, and Hercubot has used his Dragon range kicks very, very well. That's been a very key, influential ability. Now look at the numbers. I think SK are just going to try dance with them until Dragon's up and then force Alternate away.
Yeah, SK thought about sneaking in that middle turret. They quickly reacted and forced Alternate, all 5 members of Alternate, to go up and defend that one. And that's actually give SK great positional advantage. We do see the charm going thrown out there. Hercubot stepping out to the side, did get caught out by one of those orbs though, so he's taking a bit of damage, but SK going to start this Dragon Leash off.
So Dragon is going to go down quickly, 4,000 HP, and with Karthus it'll get shredded. But here come Alternate. Look for the cocoons and the charms, as RNA has been caught.
Nipp gets caught out with the charm. You can see Grey Stranglethorns. That's just going to separate Alternate. Keeps them both back away there. There's the Defile. Ocelot not going deep with the Defile though. Let's Bounce comes in. Now he flashes in. Catching on towards J-Ring. J-Ring taken very low at the side there. Kirk also very low. Hercubot kicks him straight into the Defile. Ocelot will go down, but it's in the exact position they want. Here going to be the Requiem. There's going to be the one member going down. It's a double kill for Ocelot. He manages to take down Aranea and J-Ring. Kevin catching on. He's so low. Can he get the lifesteal back? He's going to get his passive. Very nicely played. Candy Panda picks up the kill. Kraton, the last man standing for Alternate, forced to back away, a 4-for-1 to SK.
And the Dragon. Not only was it the 4-for-1, but they picked the Dragon up as well. They extend their gold lead to about 3,000. And once again, Hercubot showing just how strong he is with Lee Sin. He used that Dragon's Rage kick to kick Kerp back into Defile range. We panicked for a second because the Stranglethorns actually missed. Nipp's Stranglethorns was not ideal in that team fight, but it didn't matter because as a group, SK just stuck together and they forced Alternate to run away, and that's what helped them win the team fight.
They may not get this bottom turret because Kraton's saying, nope, that's my lane. You're not going to be taking my turret. And still not a great deal of damage done to that turret, so congrats to his defensive prowess there. Let's have a look across the items. We called it in the start. It's been one of the most popular items, and honestly, even speaking to the players 2 weeks ago, when this patch first hit, said Spectre's Cowl, everybody's going to be picking this item up.
Yeah, we seen it yesterday. I talked about it already. Patoy built it on Sona. We've seen Doublelift building it on Vayne. Later in the matchup, he actually sold it and bought a Banshee's Veil. Kurt picked it up as his first item. It's a super effective item. It's super cost effective. Now Candy Panda and Kevin have found out Kerp, and let's bounce. There it is, catches on towards him, gets the slowdown as well. Candy Panda pulling the damage down from range. Kerp is not set up to defend this one. Hasn't got his Sunfire Cape built up yet. Gets a good stun on Candy Panda, but it's not going to be enough. Candy Panda will pick up the kill, and he'll be happy for that one. Grateful because he was behind in CS, but he's really racking up the kills now. And Kevin didn't even use Let's Bounce in that engagement. He knew that they could pick that one up without it, so very well played. They secure themselves their 9th kill of the game, and it lands in Candy Panda's back pocket. He's picked himself a Negatron cloak, so I want to see where this goes, because it could be Spectre's Cowl, it could also be Guardian Angel. Remember that the recipe was changed for this patch.
We'll see.
Crowstorm from Jerry.
Crowstorm is ready. Here he goes. He's going to get in, get the fear straight on towards him. Good use of the bush there. Will it be enough to catch him away?
Dead.
No, it won't. Kraton comes in. Collateral damage blows him through, and Pharrell Lord comes across, picks up the kill secure. Now this is the numbers advantage for Alternate. If they continue to focus the tower, they could get a lot of damage down because Kevin is miles away. He's starting to recall, but this is a lot of damage as Nipp is taunted. Nipp gets caught out. He gets melted. Now you can see Hercubot. He's also caught up by the cocoon of RNA. He's forced to safeguard away. Candy Panda, does he realize the RNA is coming around the side? Forces him away from the turret, but that was brave defending. He did a lot of damage with Spray and Pray. Spray and Pray, as all of Alternate lined up to kill Nipp, it just allowed Candy Panda to just tear through them. With Lost Whisper and Blade of the Rune King, that is a lot of damage. Now all of a sudden, SK have the numbers advantage, and their eyes are going to be set in the bottom lane tower. And you can see RNA is the only man defending it, but I don't think he's going to last too long. He's going to try and stick around, though. But as you can see from Candy Panda, now he's got that Blade of the Rune King and Last Whisper already completed. He will shred through any defense that Aegis of the Legion offers for Aranea. Flash is available for Hercubot. He may take the Lee Syndrome and go in if Aranea sticks around, because Hercubot's been doing it all game. Cocoon lands on towards Kevin. They're not going to worry about that one. There goes the kick. Didn't land. Now they're going to have to back away from this one. The rest of Alternate were reacting, but they realized they are a little bit too slow. So they managed to get away. That's only the second tower of the game for SK, and you do have to highlight the fact that they're behind in CS in a lot of the lanes. Hercubot's looking for a fight, but doesn't find anybody with that Sonic Wave. So the gold is still very close, thanks to SK not necessarily CSing as well as their opponents. So red buff for Kraton. The middle wave is actually being pushed in a little bit by Kerp and Ferelnlord here. SK going to have to react to this one. They will be getting the blue buff for the first time in a long time for Ocelot there. Effectively the first time, I think, from the very first one. Which,
that's Ocelot's first blue buff on his side of the map.
Yeah, it's the first time he manages to pick that one up. So we'll see how that works out. Of course, he has got Requiem available, so that's going to help out with the cooldown if he uses it while it is on him. Let's see if they defend out that one. No problems at all.
Alternates simply cannot stick in a big 5v5 situation. They cannot stand and siege a tower for prolonged periods of time because the engage potential of the Zac, the Lisa, and the Zyra is very scary to deal with. So they want to be playing the map game, the split pushing game. Now, Candypan is aware of this. With his Blade and the Last Whisper, he can smell a kill if he can get the jump on Creatine. And Creatine's playing very safe and wise, not overextend.
There's a lot of ping wards being picked up by Alternate here. They want to get vision control, and it seems like it's going to be around the Baron area. I'm just seeing where Jerry's going to obviously put the standard Baron ward out, but let's see where all these pink wards get placed out here. SK, meanwhile, they're starting to maneuver. The Dragon will be up in 45 seconds, so it's a little bit early for them to set up for that just yet.
Talking about all the pink wards, it's something we're seeing support players do a lot more. Spirit rushes out. Can they catch Ocelot?
Well, he manages to bait him in there. Is it going to be too much? So will they go through? He does manage to get the Defile down. They repel away. Stranglethorns didn't catch anyone. Good kick on towards Jerry, but then follows it through. The Syndrome can be too strong sometimes. Spray and Pray comes out, and it's starting to melt through. Alternate having to back away from this one quickly, and they will safely get away. If Kevin had been there, Let's Bounce would have punished them.
Now, this is going to be a 4 versus, like, call it 4 thanks to HP bars. Alternate cannot afford to back and heal because they'll give away Dragon. And if they stick around with low HP and Kevin gets good Let's Bounce, they could win the fight.
But that is the only ultimate that SK have right now. Alternate have many available, and they know that, which is why they're sticking around. They realize that SK invested a lot in trying to pick up a kill.
Cocoon!
Cocoon lands on towards Kevin. He's the only one with Let's Bounce available. There goes Kurt, puts down his ultimate. Will he manage to catch on towards him? Yes, he does. Locks them down. There's not really a great deal of damage. Bounces straight in. Kurt's getting taken very low. You're going to see Candy Panda getting on towards him. Aaron Air goes down there. That's one. It's Kevin picked up. Kurt still incredibly low off the back there, but SK forced to back away from as the rest of Alternate join the fight. Dragon's still available.
Dragon is up. Everybody is low. This now makes it a 4 versus 4, and Karthus is rejoining. Look at the minimap. Ocelot may try to flank away. If he's coming in, Kevin's going to charge the slingshot. That's what we need to keep our eyes on.
He could catch a perfect wall of pain here. They're actually lined up for it. Now they're going to surely realize Ocelot coming around the side. They ping down on towards him. Kerp's still very low. There's the Dragon, picked up by Candy Panda. There's the wall of pain catching on towards him. Kevin, elastic slingshots on towards it. For Renlord, though, unfortunately, that they caught, and he does manage to get away. No, he goes in, goes aggressive, tries to get on towards Hercubot. Wasn't quite enough. Landed the charm, but wasn't enough to get away. Still very tight between them, but as you can see, that is the 4th Dragon now for SK Gaming. It's keeping them in that gold lead.
So they managed to force their way out, and thanks to Ocelot's presence on the side, Alternate could not stick around. Hercubot tried to flash over the charm and kick Ferelnlord back, but he actually dashed forward and then allowed Ferelnlord to get kicked to safety. Another charm lands, and Candy Panda, thanks to the Negatron Cloak, did not take as much damage as we were expecting. This is going to be the 3rd tower of the game for SK.
Grasping root, catching on towards Kraton. Elastic slingshot straight in there. Kevin trying to catch on towards him. That's going to be Ferelnlord caught out and taken down by Candy Panda. SK keep pushing in this one. Spray and Pray was used by Candy Panda, which is where a lot of that devastating damage come from. Kerp going a little bit too deep before he goes in. The Syndrome Stranglethorn's going to catch on towards him. Elastic slingshot goes straight in. Doesn't catch on towards him. The repel from Aaron A. Is it going to be enough? No. The little Spiderling is turned upside down. That's going to be a party coming out from J. Reaper, simply forced to back them away as Ocelot picked up another kill.
The charge is coming in. Kevin has his ultimate available if he wants to use it. This is a fantastic push for SK Gaming. Nipp basically won them both of those towers thanks to perfect grasping roots. Locked members of Alternate down, got the kills, and the rest of SK cleaned up to finish off. Great play from them.
Great play from SK Gaming right now. We said they have to pick up wins and they have to pick them up early, and it is working well for them so far. 12-8 up in kills, and that is 2 of the middle turrets down now up towards the inhibitor. Hercubot, you can see just off the side, he's stealing away the blue buff right under the noses of Alternate.
Some very good map presence and play from SK. Jerry, Kerp, and Ferelnlord are now starting to get nervous about Baron, so we'll probably see more wards and vision around that portion of the map. And the question is, how do SK want to proceed? The bottom lane and the top lane still have outer towers, so they have the option of warding and baiting Baron, or pushing the lanes and preventing Alternate from split pushing.
Kurt right now, he doesn't seem to be having certainly as much a presence as Kevin is. And just look at the scores across the two of them. 2-3-1, whereas a 2-1-9. Kevin has been creating those kills, helping out in those kills. He's just missed out on 2 of them so far.
So he's doing very well. He's also picked himself up Sorcerer Shoes as well. So he's got percentage damage from that unstable matter of Zach. And with that additional penetration, it's just going to allow him to be a threat in team fights. He's no longer utility only. I wouldn't be surprised to see him going for the likes of an Hourglass or maybe even a Haunting Guise later in the game. We'll have to see if it gets to that point.
Well, Alternate going to move over for that blue buff, but as you can see, Ocelot's already walked away with it, and there's vision of them as well. They can see Alternate going across. They've just placed that ward. SK may react to this when they realize that they are around there. Ocelot, though, they've just seen him surely in the lane with that blue buff, and they'll realize they are too late.
So at the moment, Alternate just trying to get some semblance of control back in the game. There's a lot of alternate wards in the map. You can see across the mid lane, now in the territory of SK Gaming. And SK are trying to clear that out thanks to the Oracles and Nipp. Both of the teams have had Oracles running for a long time. Crowstorm is going to be available in a couple of seconds for J-Ree, but Kevin's not going to wait.
Kevin launched himself in there, didn't use Let's Bounce, so simply went defensive. That's going to be spray and pray from Candy Panda, though. He just melted down J-Ree. J-Ree was trying off the side there, but he got caught out with a grasping root. SK are going to keep chasing this one. Kevin again gets the slow on towards Kraton. There's Let's Bounce. Catches onto Kerb. Catches onto Kraton. Bounces in towards Ferelord. Still continues to slow them down. There's the grasping roots. Kevin is going to get his passive popped, but he's still going to be fine. Nipp again catches another one. Candy Panda goes deep, gets on Ferelord. He's going to repel, but where you going? Aranea has to flash away. Elastic slingshot bounces in there, gets the slow down. That's another going down, and it's a 4-0 for SK Gaming.
SK simply not letting Alternate get into any sort of power position. They knew J-Ree was going to be on the side. They knew he wanted to channel his Crowstorm. So Nipp threw out the seedlings, caught J-Ree with the roots, and then killed him. And that allowed a 5v4 situation. And SK are playing this chase game so well. Kerb's trying to split push while the rest of SK pick up Baron.
Well, Kevin's actually gone off to split the side, so he's going to try and defend out this turret as well. There's the slingshot, bounces in there. He will manage to defend the turret. They pick up the Baron, and more importantly, Kevin actually might get the kill here.
He's got the possibility of doing that, and during that entire process and engagement, there was no Requiem used. Keep your eyes open. If Candy Panda gets in range, Requiem could be the final tick of damage for Kerb.
Kerb desperately trying to get away from this one. The slower gain from Kevin, but they can't pursue because they don't know where the rest of Alternate are. They realize they weren't quite in position. If he had gone north on that river, he would have been a dead man. That rat would have chased him down. Kraton desperately forcing out, keeping the minions at bay. They haven't lost any of their main base just yet, but surely it's only a matter of time here. SK looking strong in the first game of the Super Week.
And you have to talk about Candy Panda as well. As you were saying, he could have caught out Kerb, but during that fight, he stealthed up with ambush, walked in front of RNA and Ferelord, basically tapped them on the ankle and said, hey, what's up, buddy? I'm right here.
Give him a love tap.
And just destroyed them with all of the items he's picked up. I love the QSS, because against the single target stun, cocoon, and charm, as well as fear, that is a brilliant item. It's going to mean that the target is no longer Candy Panda in team fights. Hercubot manages to avoid the cocoon.
Yeah, without knowingly seeing it there, but Baroned up SK. What are they going to do here? Ocelot, he's pretty meaty right now. 635, that death cap, and the Zhonya's Hourglass, along with that Rod of Ages he got very early on. He's going to make him a very fearsome target when that Requiem strikes down on towards Alternate.
Now, because of a Warden's Mail being picked up by Kevin Zach, he's a legitimate option to tower dive. If he charges the slingshot and jumps in, he can tank the tunnel for a very prolonged period of time thanks to Sunfire Cape and that Warden's Mail. And the way SK has been playing, I wouldn't be surprised to see them jumping in if Alternate get caught by a root or a tiny bit overextended. So always keep your eyes on Kevin's positioning.
Well, they have the minion wave coming in. Let's see where they do manage to catch. Wall of Pain goes in there, not really catching any targets, though. It's been Nipp, honestly, that with that grasping root that tends to start things off. The moment that lands, they just pile straight onto that target. Effectively, exactly what Alternate said they did originally way back in DreamHack when they went 5-0.
Yeah, it's actually what SK is doing to Alternate. It's basically what Alternate did to the rest of the league all season long. Land a key ability and dive in. And because SK managed to get a little bit ahead earlier, they've been able to make it stick further. So there's going to be 1 or 2 more waves of the siege before they decide to back off. Ocelot's rooted.
Oh, they may go into it. There's the Strangle Thorns. Ferelord was the target. Let's Bounce has yet to be used by Kevin. He's still holding on to that one. But surprise party Fiddler comes out, but he gets caught out with the Ignite. Ocelot picks up the kill. SK back away without losing anyone as well. Very nicely done. And that Teller Light, that's Nipp that just went down for the passive. But doesn't matter. They got the inhibitor turret.
They traded 1 for 1, and the crucial ultimates are still in place. There's Let's Bounce is still available, as well as Requiem. It was only a Stranglethorns for that tower. Now we're going to have potentially a 3v3 in this bottom lane, but SK are too low, and they needed the crowd control of Nipp to fight.
Yeah, they're going to back away from that one. They're happy to take that middle inhibitor turret. Everybody backs off to buy. Dragon respawns, and this will be SK taking full control. They've not lost a dragon yet, and I believe this is either the 5th or the 6th one of the game for SK Gaming. They've had full control over the money and experience from the dragon.
The thing that's brilliant about SK's dragon control in this match is even if they didn't start the dragon, they pushed alternate off of it. They haven't been afraid, they haven't been timid. A lot of teams tend to think, well, we'll make it up on the next dragon. We don't have to fight. SK realize they've got a team fight advantage in strength, and they're challenging for every single one. And that's why they are, they've got alternates inhibitor exposed.
Blue buff 4 for Ellenor. That's the first one he's had in the last 2 or 3 tries at it. So SK kind of missed the timing on that one, but they were more importantly going for that exposed inhibitor now in that mid lane. Baron is still on them, but it's only up there for another 10 or 15 seconds, so not too much left on that one. But SK, they are starting to group, reform, and it looks like the bottom inner turret seems to be their next focus target. You can see SK coming down. They've got the ward, so they're going to cover out this red buff area, which you can see actually Alter Aranea is on. And he is going to use the smite to make sure he gets it.
Manages to land a charm on Nipp, but they've caught Forellenlord.
Forellenlord has to get away from that one. His ultimate was used out there, and SK going to catch on towards it. So Requiem's going to come down. It's going to do a hell of a lot of damage. Hercubot trying to get the Lee Syndrome. Instead, he gets on towards it, flashes in. Is it going to be enough? The red buff tick will be on Hercubot.
Slingshot.
Let's Bounce comes in. Kevin tries to get that launch. They're desperately trying to get towards Forellenlord. Let's Bounce comes out. Meanwhile, at the back, you can see Kerb. He's taking all of the damage from Candy Panda, roasting him down. Kevin takes a lot of damage, but the safeguard from Hercubot saves him. And there's Candy Panda ripping through the Spiderlings and just tears down Aranea. It's a 2 for 0, and the inhibitor will go down.
That was actually a poor engage for SK Gaming, but they made it work because their coordination was so good. Candy Panda wants Creatine, and if he gets some auto attacks down, that could be a dead Graves. Instead, Creatine backs away.
Well, they have full control right now. It's a 5v3. And they're looking to just go across and maybe push on towards the top inner turret.
The focus now, until Baron respawns, is the outer towers, the last ones in lane. Once they get the towers down, they're going to wait for super minions to push mid and then go and pick up a basically safe Baron. They'll have a lot of deep wards, and they'll have SK forced to defend. So at the moment, SK's in a very good position.
Well, and they can see Elastic Slingshot comes across, catches on towards him. Kevin takes the tower, hits it, forces alternate away, but they're going to come in. They're going to try and dive in towards Ocelot. Have they got enough damage? No, the tower goes down too quick, and now Kerb gets locked up. A great Stranglethorns. Ocelot uses his Zonya Hourglass. He's safe, and that is the inner turret and another kill. This time it's Kerb that dies.
This is basically a guaranteed Baron now. As they've got all of this damage down, they're going to set up so much vision and control, back, spend some money, and then set up for the Nasher. So very good position, and every single time SK pick a fight, they're winning them. They're not afraid to engage, and I think the decision-making as far as which fights to pick has been flawless.
From a very tight game, Alternate will let this game slip away. Really all spelled from that 4-1 dragon fight that they had when SK picked up the dragon and the 4 kills, and it's now 20-9 in kills, and that spans to an 11,000 gold lead and 6-4 in turrets. More importantly, they picked up the Baron, which will be spawning back in 40 seconds time, and that middle inhibitor turret.
And the reason that SK has been doing so well and snowballed the game from that very small lead to now a slightly more sizable 11,000 gold lead is because they understand the strength of their composition, and they're not letting Alternate get theirs. SK have been as a team for the last 25 minutes. They've stuck together, they've fought together, and they've pushed together. Alternate have been trying to split them up, but they're just not strong enough to duel SK, and that's why it's in SK's favor.
For a moment, I thought you die together and ride together was going to come out, but I wasn't sure which way you were going with that one. As it is, though, Baron will be up in 5 seconds' time. SK are in position. Alternate look like they may try and just force something straight up the mid lane here, but they are going to cut across and defend it. Will it be in the right place? Ward control is really in SK's favor. Alternate coming in fairly blind, throwing down the pink wards, but you can see SK already started out the Baron.
Here comes Kevin. He may jump in, decides against it. Now, J-Ree's going to go over the pit with Crowstorm, and Kevin's the initiating force here.
Well, Baron's down to 3.9k. Ocelot's going in, has to use that Zonya's Hourglass. Forellenlord tried to pick him up. He will go down. There's Ocelot down, but he gets to get the Defile in the perfect placement. Good collateral damage, but here comes the Requiem. Will it be enough? Takes them all very low. Kevin launches himself in there. There's the Let's Bounce, but it actually got locked up before he managed to use it, so he didn't stun anyone there. Just off the side. Candy Panda, though, is still doing the damage. Flash away from the Elastic Slingshot. slingshot. Great Archibald gets straight in and gets the kick on towards him. A brilliant charm comes out, but look at Candy Pan around the back, just spraying a brain through the whole team, locking them all down. Flashes onto Kraton. Kraton tries his best, uses the barrier. He should escape here. Candy Pan not giving up on this one. He wants to close him down. Nobody got the Baron. It was down to 3.9k. Nipp's going to get caught out. Aaron Air takes him down. Little ninja play there. Kevin comes in, chases him down. Is he going to get the slow on him? No. He gets away with it. Good play from Alternate.
At the end of the day, Alternate started the fight on their terms. It's not over yet, as the Spiders caught the rat.
Oh, the cat's on towards Aaron Air, and Candy Panda just mows him down with that Mafia rat.
And at the moment, Candy Pan is the difference maker in these fights. He wasn't able to line up a good spray and pray. He wasn't able to focus fire members of Alternate, which is why SK didn't win the fight. Candy Pan does have Blade of the Ruin King active. He's going to decide against it.
He's like an assassin right now, 10-1-6, but then see J-Ree comes in with the Oracle and goes, whoa, what's this little rat doing here? You were lucky, nearly went down there, Kraton. Instead, he's going to take away that blue buff. That's going to be prevented for Eleanor. Won't be able to get that one. Candy Panda is on fire right now.
He's doing phenomenally well, and it's because he's been enabled by his team. He's been able to roam, pick up kills, and the front line of the Lee Sin and the Zac have been so strong. Now, they've started Baron off mostly full HP. There's a lot of ultimates available on both sides, with the exception of Requiem. So let's see how Alternate decide to engage, as SK have been allowed to start Baron freely.
The Baron down to just 5,000 hit points, and Alternate coming in there. Slice and Dice comes through, but Kevin launched himself up. He's tanked that Baron for a long time, though, so he's got next to no hit points. The passive was popped there, but look at Kraton. He just gets mowed down. Ocelot picks up the kill secure. That spray and pray is doing work at the back. Kerp's going to have to get away from that one. Tries to slide away, but again, Hercubot is there. Goes safeguards across. Kerp just one more hit. Catches the grasping root. No! Dodges out the side of it.
There's Candy Panda.
Look at Candy Panda. He's been charmed up. He's getting caught out for Relon. Manages to melt him down. Gets the 500 gold shutdown bonus. Hercubot is going to chase down Kerp, though. I don't think he's going to be able to escape this one. Tries his best to juke him out. He may well get away with it so far. Ocelot is closing in from the side. Aaron A is going to try and track in as well. Kevin should be, Hercubot, sorry, will finish this one off. There's no mana for Ocelot. No mana for Ocelot. What are you doing? Stranglethorns gets thrown down. They're desperately trying to keep Aaron A away. Forelord realizes it. He could try and get in, tries to dodge the charm. Nipp manages to get away with it. They're still going. They're not giving up on this one. SK, you have to back away. You've got no mana.
So a few things happened there. I didn't quite catch Candy Panda, whether or not he QSS'd before the charm landed or not. I just missed that, and I think that was the case. Hercubot's going to try interrupt these recalls. He's stalling for time so they don't Baron. He's got Lee Syndromed.
He goes straight in there. Had got the kick available, but didn't have the damage. Niff comes in to try and support him, but Forelord is catching Hercubot out a little bit with the amount of damage he could burst out.
Following on from the rest of the fight, Ocelot flashed over the tree line to pick a fight with no mana. He flashed in to try and pick up a kill, then went, oh bugger, I've got nothing to cast spells with, and basically, you know, pantsed himself in that situation because he was a little bit crippled. What has happened, Baron has been stopped. Successful gambit by Alternate because they delayed the buff, they forced SK away. They did lose a couple members in the process, but now everybody's back at full health. All of the ultimates are now available. We reset, and we'll have to see how this next fight goes.
While this has all been happening, Inhibitors respawned, and actually Alternate have gained 2,000 gold over SK while all this crazy fighting going. So SK have got to be careful they don't throw this one away. They had full control, but again, they are being caught in towards this, we must get Baron. They didn't need Baron. They were winning team fights 4-for-1, 4-for-0 before they even had it. So they should just surely just keep on pushing.
Yeah, the Baron Magnet pulls many teams towards it. It's a juicy target. And I think if I were in SK's situation right now, I would use the fact that my team comp is working and push the bottom lane tower, re-push the inhibitor, and then once it's safe to do so, then and only then go for Baron. Hercubot's looking to set something up. There's no flash kick available, but look at the positioning from Alternate. Once J-Ree gets into a position to Crowstorm, that may be the go signal.
Well, that is a bottom inner turret going down. SK Gaming's minions pushing that one. Meanwhile, the rest of the teams have themselves a little bit of a juke. Kevin seeing if he can catch on towards Kraton, but no. The Oracle's being put to use by both support players, clearing out that ward coverage.
Now, the lanes are pushing towards Alternate in SK's favor. So SK is going to look to stall this out as long as possible. When a minion wave gets to an objective, then SK is going to push forward. So we'll see if that is going to be the call. As you can see, the bottom wave is getting very close to that inhibitor turret.
Meanwhile, Kevin, he continues to be ready and waiting. It's either been Kevin or Niff. One of those lands a skill shot, they will all launch for it. Hercubot's been fast to follow up, and as it is, they may have baited Alternate to actually come into this one. They separated out. They're actually setting a trap, and I'm not sure that's the best way to go about it.
So for Alternate, they want to get a single pick before the fight happens. And if SK come from a flanking position, the Stranglethorns is very, very crucial. Now you'll see the minion wave in the bottom is getting very close, and SK have the positional advantage. They've swapped sides. SK's going to rush an inhibitor.
SK's going to go straight in there. Meanwhile, Alternate kind of caught out of position. They're going to have to get between SK and their own base. The inhibitor, like you say,
Spirit rush from Frelin Lord.
They're going to go on towards it. That's going to be a cocoon landed on Kevin. He takes him very low. Good Stranglethorn on towards Kerb. Collateral damage from Kraton catches all of SK Gaming, but straight away goes in. A Hercubot kicking Kraton actually away from the team. Didn't want to do that. This is not a good fight for SK Gaming. They're getting mowed down. Alternate doing a fantastic job. Requiem's going to come out. That will pick up Kerb. It will actually be a double. He manages to get down J-Ree as well. There's Kevin launching him across. Kraton very, very low. Candy Panda flashes towards it, uses the barrier, catches on one. Can he catch on towards Frello? One more shot should be enough to catch on there. Throws out the orbs. He actually takes down Hercubot. I cannot believe it. Frello gets away with that. But Candy Panda, he's cutting him off. He's coming around the side. Aranea is going to try and help out. Stealths up. That sneaky little rat. He's got that explosive cask. Instead, thinks about going for Alternate. Instead, you see the ignite will be enough. Kevin goes in. Elastic stink shots on that one. And now 3 members of SK, they're going for the inhibitor turret instead.
So very well played. It's a 3 for 4 at the end of the day. SK got jumped on by Ultimate because they were a little bit poor positioning, and unfortunately Kevin ate a cocoon and a charm. Now the RNA misses the cocoon, so that means that Candy Pan is uninterrupted. They'll get the inhibitor, back away, maybe go top lane. There's a long death timer, but it is risky if they stick around for longer.
Going straight away towards that top. I think Candy Pan has got the damage, to be honest. He's 11 and 10. 11 to 10. He's got so much damage just mowing down these turrets. You can see he's going to hit that one. J-Ree's respawn, but that is all. And the rest of the team will back away. They've exposed another inhibitor. That is the fight SK needed, despite it not really going that well in their direction.
It's actually something that Ultimate's doing better and better and better as the game goes further. SK are no longer convincingly winning team fights. It's a lot scrappier, it's a lot closer, and it's because Ultimate's fighting more on their terms. Ultimate's fighting where they have advantages, they have stronger positions. I talked about how if Ultimate get a pick, they'll win a fight. And that's basically what they did to Kevin. Yeah, they didn't kill him, but they forced him so low, it forced the fight into a 5v4. And SK cannot afford to do that again.
And SK, despite all that, actually didn't get Baron, and they, as we mentioned, just needed to force a fight, and that's what they did. And you can see actually Spectral Cows popping in all over the place. We did also see Hercubot pick one up earlier. He's turned it into an unlock it of Solar.
Spirit Visage.
Spirit Visage, that's the one. I knew it was going for there. But that one, Jerry gets caught out. He's taken very low. The spray and pray actually being used by Candy Panic, picks himself up another victim. That takes him to 12, 2, and 11.
So well played there by SK once again, using the vision control that they have in their favor, and basically just finding a lone soldier of Alternate, as Alternate were just trying to look towards Baron. They're just trying to close the gap. Right now with the numbers advantage, Frelin been caught in Candy Panda. He's bursting people down.
He's just jumping straight on him. He manages to rip a good amount of hit points off. Ooh, Wall of Pain actually, Aranea ran into that one. That's not a great thing to do. Cocoon goes out, doesn't quite like find his target, and they're going to jump in there. They catch on towards Kerp. They force him away, but it's Kraton that they kick in. Stranglethorns goes down. That bounces Kerp in the air. He gets caught down, but SK have done the damage. They're going to get themselves another inhibitor, and that was a 2 for 0 again.
They could go for the finisher. This is 5 versus 3. They've got the numbers advantage and the damage advantage. Ferenal's going to have to do a godlike defense. They've got Candy Panda.
Candy Panda gets shut down. Kevin tries to go in towards Ferenal, but he hasn't really got the damage either. Alternate doing a very good job at defending this one. They're going to catch on towards Oslo. Has to use the Zonias, but it's only a matter of time. Kerp should be able to finish him off. Can he get close enough to pick up the kill? There it is. Slices and dices in towards it. Gets on towards Kevin and Hercubot. Requiem will come out. It's going to do a heck of a lot of damage. Will it be enough? He does manage to get onto Kerp. That's going to be Hercubot. Hercubot jumps in. He takes down Kerp. Aranea now low, and that's going to be Hercubot catching on towards him. Kevin, has he got the damage? No, he gets feared across there. Is it going to be enough to slow them down? It will be, but there's super minions. Then one of the Nexus turrets is down. They're going to get him for the second. Hercubot jumps on towards it. He will get the next Nexus turret down. Kevin's in there. They're going to go for the Nexus here. They're trying to finish off the game. Aranea and Jerry comes in, tries to fear off Kevin, but look at Hercubot on the back. He's continuing to hammer down on the Nexus. Kevin uses Let's Bounce to keep Aranea busy. Jerry taken so low, has to repel away from this one.
Kevin's on it!
Now Kevin's on it. They've got super minions on it. There's all sorts of things on it. They're going to get the bloody Nexus nevertheless. SK Gaming pick up game 1 in Super Week. Holy cow, I don't think I'm going to be able to survive 20 games if that is what every match is like.
Ladies and gentlemen, 4 4-1 is the minimum record SK can go to secure a playoff position, and they have started their playoff run. A brilliant game from them. Control from the very beginning. From the very first team fight, SK said, you shall not pass go, you shall not collect 1,000 gold for the Dragon. They denied it, and they controlled the tempo of the game from there on out.
And let's talk about the carries right now. 14-6-10 for Ocelot, the man on your screen right there on Carthus. 12-3-12 for Candy Panda. 0-5-18, 18 assists for Nipp. He was setting so much up, and as Ocelot just said, 4 more. That is completely possible now as they've managed to strike the curse. They're now 2-2 against Alternate, and it was just the exact type of start that SK needed.
There's not a single person watching the stream right now that can question Ocelot's performance in that game, that can question any of SK's performance. I think we have to talk about Hercubot as well. I mean, he went 3-2-20, and I would say that's one of the most impressive Lee Sin performances I've seen all split long. His positioning was brilliant. His Dragon Rage kicks, I think he messed one up. One of them was the only one I would dare call out. Every other time he used that ultimate was spot on. And I think every other team is going to be very wary of SK Gaming going forward.
How many times have we talked about SK and we've talked about how much of a confidence team they are? That is a confident start.
I want to see how Alternate bounce back from it. Now, Alternate are sitting relatively comfortable. They only need to pick up something like 3-2 on the week to be able to get a position. Yeah, 3-2 is what they need. They've got one of those 2 already. And this is the team that maybe could have been riding previous week's confidence. You know, they've got their full team back, and we were talking about it. Their record is now 10 wins, 5 losses without substitutes. And they're going to be looking to try to fix that.
Well, let's look where they are in the standings. It is actually Alternate are going to be 13-11. That actually moves them down into 3rd place. Yep. And that also puts SK Gaming at 11-13. They're still in 7th. They're still in 7th place, but there's a lot of games to go right now.
So 11-13, that puts them 1 game behind EG and Gambit, who are 11-12. Right? So
who would have thought we were talking about that?
This is ridiculous.
Okay. The 3 teams that were at Season 2 are in joint 5th, 6th and 7th.
So let's say, for example, now this next game, which is EG versus NIP, right? If NIP defeat Evil Geniuses, EG and SK are going to be tied for that 6th place position, as it were. And we'll have, for the first time in a long time, like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Something we haven't had for 6 weeks. There's no tie in the top 5, potentially.
It's going to be a crazy Super Week, that is for sure. If you've just joined us, where the hell have you been? You just missed a fantastic first match, which you can, of course, catch on VOD over on lollysports.com at some point in the day. Not quite yet, though.
I think we can do a plug for the tickets as well.
Well, yes, of course.
lollysports.com/tickets.
I mean, they went on sale today. The 15th of August. Get your tickets for the World Finals, ladies and gentlemen. It will be in Los Angeles. We're going to be in the studios. We're going to be at the Galen Center where we had the final last year. The SU semifinals are going to be there. Massive tournament. And, of course, at Staples for the grand final. It is going to be epic. You're going to want to be there. I'm certainly happy to be there as yourself. It is going to be fantastic. We are, though, going to go up towards our analysis desk to take us through the massive, epic battle that was SK Gaming versus Alternate. Joe and Jason, take it away.
Thanks a lot, guys. A brilliant game there, Jason. And, well, where do we start with it? It was a long one. SK had a big advantage for quite a while. There was some dodgy team fights in there, but, you know, in the end, getting to where they wanted to be.
Yeah, it was a very action-packed game. If you look at the North America LCS games that happened yesterday, you saw like 60 minutes long with not even half the action. But we can start from the beginning, because it was all about the first blood that happened on Kevin. We actually saw it was Hercubot run through his jungle. He was spotted by wards by Alternate. He ends up going towards the top side to go for a 3-man gank or dive or whatever they're trying to go up there. But Kevin, he gets dofed as 3 people as well in the bottom lane, but he stays alive long enough to allow the turret to hit the enemy team as much as possible. And because of that, they get that first turret. And why it's really important, because it gets them snowballed a little bit. You see them end up saving their own turret, and then they go for Dragon like right after as their AD carry support comes down towards that bottom lane. And you saw towards the end of the game, they had 5-6 Dragons, and that kind of kept their gold lead throughout the entirety of the game.
So let's have a look through the replay then. It's about halfway through the game at this point where we have action quite in the middle lane, but there's a little bit in the jungle as well. A great setup by SK.
Yeah, let's get on the screen just so I can walk you through exactly what happened, because it's, like you said, 30 minutes in. I want to point out something in particular. Look where Kevin is. He's like over in the wolf camp, bottom side of the map. Not a big deal as you look at it right now. But the whole point is he's going to jump over this wall. It gives vision of J-Re and allows Candy Pen to go to town him. So let's start this replay up. and just show you how it kind of does go on throughout this fight. So you're going to see Jerry. And what's key about this is that without his ultimate, without his fear, without his silence, he can't force Candy Panda to blow his QSS, which they need to get rid of so they can charm him or lock him down. But he ends up getting blown up, and of course they end up just chasing him down here, and the fight does progress a little bit longer on. As Trevor pointed out, Candy Panda actually does something very smart around the 30-30 mark, where he, instead of noticing that, you know, I could follow behind, you know, follow them into the back of this fight, but instead he's like, all right, I'm going to flank. I'm going to go around from the front and try to catch him off guard. As you see, even Nipp in that nice flash route over the wall. They end up picking up 4 kills for 0 deaths in this, and it kind of gave SK that extra momentum. I mean, they had a lot of momentum to begin with, but that little bit of extra thing that they needed to really kind of, you know, go for Baron. All right, we can force some fights. We feel a lot more comfortable where we are right now.
We did see, though, as I said earlier, a couple of team fights that weren't very convincing by SK. You know, is that a worry for them with 4 more games to go?
I don't know. I mean, we always talk about SK being a momentum-based team, where, you know, if they get like a good win, then they have their high morale, they're going to do really well. But I know, like the fight you're thinking in particular, where they were trying to make Baron happen, then they end up running over or down the mid lane, they get caught from behind. It does worry me a little bit, but it's just one of those small things that was kind of showing how SK's evolved a little bit, where they've been playing really passive, they have these big goal leads, they don't know where to go with it, but right there you saw, they realized they're up really far, and they wanted to force something. So to me, it's actually a positive sign. But if they keep making stuff like that happen maybe later on, if they mess up a couple of those fights, it actually really is going to hurt them.
Well, certainly a positive sign that SK able to start off here the weekend with a victory. We're going to head over to Shox, who's got Nipp with her for an interview.
Thanks, guys. Nipp, congratulations coming into this so incredibly important weekend with a win over Alternate. So how did you go into this one? You guys were 10 and 13 coming into this one, and Alternate has not been an easy team to beat in the past. So how did you come into this one?
Well, we just trained a lot for this weekend. Well, actually, it's not a weekend, but we trained like 8 hours a day, and we just focused on our play style. We didn't care too much about what they play, and it really helped us. And especially, we played against the Lemon Dogs, and it really helped us to step out our game and play really good.
Talking about playing your own game, Ocelot told us last week, you know, I'm going to play Assassins more. I think that is what my team needs. And yeah, we saw him playing Karthus this game. So how did that work out in the team comp you had today?
Yeah, we're still playing Assassins though, but I think Karthus was the right pick here, as we saw. Like, he could zone them so much, and he did so much damage, and he helped us a lot to secure this win.
Yes, absolutely. Then talk me through the game. Beginning of the game, Alternate got first blood, and yet you guys focused on getting the dragon and getting that first tower. Was that the mindset going into it, just focus on the objectives? And how did it shift to all the kills you racked up?
Well, we always want to go for the objectives. The first one was, I think it was a bit unlucky. I mean, if you know that he would be there, that he could back as well, like Rennington did, and he wouldn't die. Or he always killed one of them too, so could have gone either way, but we wanted to go for the objectives, like tower and then for the track, and it helped us to win.
And you guys racked up a lot of kills, and then you almost threw it. It could have been thrown at a certain point where you kept going for Baron. So were you kind of confused there as to, we have to finish this and we don't really know how, or?
I think we went to Baron too much. Like, we wanted it too much. We should have unwarded more, pressured them more, wait for the creeps, and be more patient. I think we should have done this, but it worked out anyways, and I'm glad.
What I also have to say in watching this match, you guys seem to be incredibly confident. Anytime you landed a root or Hercubert landed a Q, you guys just went straight in. Where did that confidence come from? And was it maybe not a little bit overconfident at times that you engaged in fights that you might not be able to win?
I think with the composition we play right now, with the team comps, if we land the skill shot or stun, and we really know that we will kill him, and we know exactly how far we can go with the comps, and that helps us exactly to be that aggressive as we are.
Okay, so 1 down, a lot to go with your eyes on Gamescom, of course. So what is the mindset for the rest of the 3 days here? Your next match is going to be up against Fnatic, and again, not an easy one to go up against.
Yeah, right now we just focus on the games right now. And if we make it to Gamescom, then we'll make it focus on Gamescom. But right now, it's important to win the games. And I think we're on a good track, and I hope we will do it.
1 game at a time. Thank you very much, Nipp.
You're welcome.
As for us, we're going to take a short break, but when we return, the revitalized Evil Geniuses are looking poised for a comeback. But they're about to go up against Ninjas in Pajamas, who have already beaten them 3 times this season. That's coming up.